If you've ever made long vocabulary lists, color-coded every word, repeated them out loud, and still forgot half of them the next day, you are not the problem. You were just taught the wrong system because your brain doesn't remember what you highlight. It remembers what you feel, what you use, and what you hear in context. In this video, I'll show you the exact method I use to actually remember new words without burning out on flashcards or wasting hours memorizing stuff I'll never use. And also guys, I have created a free document, your ultimate vocabulary guide, for this video. This guide has the exact system that I use to learn and actually remember new words. Inside you'll find my favorite daily practice routine, 5 methods to make words stick long term, real life examples and tools I use every day. So if you want to get the ultimate vocabulary guide, all you need to do is click the link in my description and I'll send you an email with all the information. When I was preparing for this video, I really wanted to share with you guys this one super simple principle that I use in my daily language learning practice. I am 99% sure if you start using the same principle in your language learning, you will see your level increase almost immediately. And that is this rule of 3 R's: relevance, repetition, recall. These 3 things, relevance, repetition, recall, is something that I built my language learning practice on. And this type of learning is something that helps me memorize all of the new vocabulary that I need to memorize. And this is how words actually stick, not through drills, through long vocabulary lists. No, through meaningful repetition. And so now I'm actually going to share with you guys how I apply this concept of meaningful repetition and the rule of 3 R's, relevance, repetition, recall, to my language learning practice and how I actually remember all of the new vocabulary. So the first principle is listen a lot, more than you read. I used to struggle with listening so much. It was too hard. It was so much easier for me to just read books in English. I remember when I was in high school, when I was at university, listening was always extremely hard. I mean, we mostly relied on grammar drills, on reading long, boring texts. I grew up learning English this way, and so I knew that was the only correct way until I decided to stop what I was doing and focus all of my attention on listening. And that is when everything changed for me. And that is why in this video I say that listening practice is the #1 thing I wish I had done earlier. It improved my English skills so much, my vocabulary, my pronunciation, and I liked this method so much that I just started with it when I started learning Spanish, and I'm now using this method with every single language I'm learning and am going to learn in the future. Yes, listening is harder than reading, and that is completely normal. But that is actually good because that is exactly why listening trains your brain so much better. It forces you to recognize patterns and sounds in real time, just like in a real conversation. And that is how our brain naturally processes new languages. Listen a lot, more than you read, and listen to something that you are interested in, something where you understand 80 to 90% of the information, so that what you're listening to is actually comprehensible to you. It's not just like blah, blah, blah. It's something that you can actually understand with a few words and phrases and maybe grammar rules sprinkled in that are new to you. And I know that one question that a lot of you guys probably have right now is how and where do I find good quality listening material that is not boring and not too advanced? And that is where FluentU comes in. And I want to say a huge thank you to them for sponsoring a portion of today's video. And yes, it's sponsored, but I always share tools and resources with you guys that I love and I would recommend to my friends. There are so many language apps out there, but FluentU stands out because it gives you real tools for real comprehension. So instead of cramming vocabulary from a textbook, you're hearing it used by native speakers in real context. They also have a Chrome extension which lets you learn with any Netflix or YouTube video that has subtitles. And here is what makes FluentU really special. When you come across a new word, you you don't just get a translation, you get an image, tips, example sentences, and this is my favorite part, links to other videos that use the same word. And this helps the word actually stick. FluentU also has a built-in review system that you can use to start with single words, then move on to phrases and full sentences. So you're actively building the skill of speaking, not just memorizing. And you can also use FluentU to look up words and see how they're used in real life. Kind of like a dictionary, but way more fun. I find this feature super helpful. So if you want to give FluentU a try, in my description you will find my link that will give you a free trial and a 40% discount code. Okay, so the next part of my method, the method that I'm using to memorize all of the new vocabulary successfully, is recording myself speaking. And here the very important part is that I actually use all of the new words I want to remember in my recording. Maybe it's a video, maybe it's a voice note, and so I just record a quick voice note that I'm going to listen to later when I don't know what to do, when I'm washing the dishes, when I'm commuting. And this little technique helps my memory so much because I'm actually saying all of the new words that I need with all of the example sentences that I like, that are relevant to my life. So let's say I found this video and I just want to watch it or maybe listen to it and at the same time learn new vocabulary.
What were those values and how did your parents instill those in you?
I think our parents modeled it. I mean, if I were to think of one word that would describe my father, he was just a decent man.
This word decent might be new to you. It might be something that you really want to add to your active vocabulary. I go to ChatGPT and I ask ChatGPT to explain in super simple words what the word decent means in English and how native speakers actually use it. You can even go a little bit deeper and say, how do people in the United States use this word if American English is something you're interested in? The word decent in simple English means pretty good or okay. It's used when something is not amazing but also not bad. It's good enough or acceptable. I can imagine using a lot of these sentences myself. Maybe I will personalize some of them. Instead of saying she is a decent person, like who? She. I will say my grandpa is a decent person. And so what I would do is I would use my phone, maybe I would record a video of myself or maybe a voice note, and I would be like, okay, the word decent in English means pretty good or okay. Common ways Americans use decent, talking about quality. This pizza is decent. It's not the best, but it tastes okay. And so I would just read through the examples that I liked the best. And voila, here's how I would create this video or this voice note to listen to later. And that is a very important thing. You actually have to watch your videos or listen to your voice notes later. Because what we're trying to do here is not just practice. We're trying to build a loop where you create, listen, create, listen, maybe sometimes correct yourself. Maybe sometimes notice how your pronunciation has changed, how your accent has changed. With this kind of practice, you are internalizing all of the new vocabulary. All right, so let's move on to the next part of my method that works incredibly good if you love to nerd out on language learning things. If you love to use Anki and optimizing things, you're going to love this part. Use Cloze cards if you use Anki. I love Anki because their algorithm is amazing. The way you can customize everything is just really great for me. But I see so many people just use basic cards on Anki, just like the new word, the translation to their native language. Guys, please don't do that. Try not to rely on translation so much, especially when you're creating flashcards for yourself. Maybe, at the very beginning, you're learning a new word, like the word decent, and you're just very curious what it means in your native language because the explanation that ChatGPT gave you is not enough, or maybe it's too complicated because you're still a beginner or like an early intermediate student. Okay, you can use the translation to translate this word to your native language, but then when you're actually trying to memorize this word, use pictures, use example sentences, but not your native language. Cloze cards are basically fill in the blank cards. And the reason why I love them so much, and I think right now my Anki deck is like 95% Cloze cards, is because you're not memorizing isolated words. Context is exactly what triggers recall. Let's continue with the same YouTube video and let's find a new word to add to Anki and to create a Cloze card with.
Honest, hardworking, and loyal, trustworthy. I mean, these were the kind.
I think we can already pause here and save the word trustworthy because it's such a good word. And I'm sure a lot of you want to start using this word in your active vocabulary. I would put this word to ChatGPT with the exact same prompt, and I would add, help me create a Cloze card for Anki with it too. So let's see. Okay, the word is trustworthy. The simple explanation, trustworthy means that you can trust this person. They are honest, they are reliable, and they won't lie to you or hurt you on purpose. This is going to be the Cloze fill in the blank card for Anki. I always tell Jake my secrets because he is very trustworthy. I go to Anki and I choose my note type. I think by default it's going to be set to basic or basic and reverse card. This is not what I want. I'm gonna choose Cloze and this is what it looks like. So I'm gonna highlight the word trustworthy and I'm going to click here. And this is going to create our Cloze deletion. I highly recommend adding pictures or maybe synonyms for the word trustworthy, like honest, reliable. Again, you can just copy everything from ChatGPT because it gave me such a good but simple explanation. I think that really gives you a good idea of what word you're supposed to guess. Okay, then I click add and then I'm going to show you guys what it looks like. When I click on study now, I see this. I don't see my native language, no translations. I see a sentence. I click on show answer and I have again hard, good, easy. Let's choose good. And so if I choose good, Anki will show me this sentence, this word tomorrow in one day. And now let's move to another method that I have been really loving lately. Read, listen, and speak. And do all of that together at the same time. So basically what I mean by that is you're listening to an audiobook while you actually have the book open in front of you, and then after hearing one sentence, you stop and you read the same sentence out loud. I'm not gonna lie to you, this method is really slow. If you actually want to read books very fast, it's probably going to slow down your book reading progress. To show you guys how I actually use this method, I'm going to use the book Wonder. It is a short book from what I remember. It is really fun to read. It has short sentences, easy words, something that native speakers actually use in real life.
I know I'm not an ordinary 10-year-old kid.
I know I'm not an ordinary 10-year-old kid.
I mean, sure, I do ordinary things.
I mean, sure, I do ordinary things.
I eat ice cream.
I eat ice cream. And here I can already notice something interesting. He said, I eat ice cream. He didn't say, I eat ice cream. He connected the word eat with the word ice cream and created this flap T sound in American English. I eat ice cream. So guys, I think it's going to be it for today's video. I really hope you liked it. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to check out this video's description to get my ultimate vocabulary guide and also to check out FluentU. With my link, you can try them for free and then get 40% off. Now that you know how to make words stick and how to remember them long term, let's actually go deeper, because the number one skill that made me fluent wasn't memorization, it was listening. And that is why I highly recommend watching this video next.